Welcome back to the Big Game Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Hunter, and I got my man Daniel Horton here with me today, man. We got a good show for everybody out there today, man. We had a lot of great action last night. We're gonna talk about, those Minnesota Golden Gophers got to our Wolverine last night, so we definitely gonna discuss that and dive into it. But how you doing today, man? What's going on with you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Got to be here creating some more content with you, man. Talking about these Wolverines, which I think gonna be end up being a special year. But took a hit last night. First loss in conference play. Tough loss given where Minnesota is in the standings and how they lost the game. But I think it was still some good things in there last night that we can talk about moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. So man, let's get into it, man. The Gophers. They stunned the number 20 Wolverines, man, in overtime last night, and it was one of those games where you're coming in 5-0, you're going on the road, you're trying to keep that momentum going, and going into the barn, as as former players, it's always a tough place to play, man. It's a tough venue. There's different sight lines. They got a little smaller locker room you got to squeeze into as the team, and you're playing up on this stage where if you fall off the court, it's about a 6-foot drop.
Right.
So it's one of those games that can be overlooked, especially with them being last in the Big Ten. But at the same time, it's always a fun, competitive environment just because of the uniqueness and the historic nature of that venue, man. So what were your initial thoughts before we kind of dive into some of this film that we have? What were your thoughts about what led to this ultimate, the Wolverines being stunned in overtime and losing this game?
Yeah, no, I think it's first of all, it's that time of year, right? It's January, mid-January. Guys are sore. It's just hard to get up in the morning with how cold it is in the Midwest. All things you go through as a college athlete playing in the Big Ten, right? So going on the road and winning in the Big Ten is already hard enough, right? Then you come in, you have a 5-game winning streak. Minnesota's never beat this coach. Under this coach has never beat a ranked team before. So it's just kind of like a perfect storm of, you have Garcia who kind of came in the game with something to prove with the billing between him and Wolf. So you kind of got a perfect storm for an upset, right? And I think Michigan almost avoided it, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot in some areas. I guess we'll talk about that as the show continues.
Yeah, for sure. And what I thought about before this game, okay, what is Minnesota's pathway to potentially winning this game? And I think what you saw in it is one, Dawson Garcia having a great game, and you alluded to it before. He's one of those guys, when you talk about the skill set that Danny Wolf has, he's another 6'11" guy who can do a lot of things out there on the floor, driving it, handling it, shooting it in the mid-post, posting up. So he was able to impose his will and have a really, really good game. And then the other two things that were pathways to Minnesota to win this game is some of Michigan's woes rearing their ugly head again. So the turnovers, right, is always one of those issues. And then those guys not being able to defend the way they typically defend, right?
Yep.
And then thirdly, for Minnesota, you needed to have some outlier games, man. And you had 2 games from their backcourt with those guys scoring 20-plus points and making key shots down the stretch to put them in a position to win. But it was a highly entertaining game down the stretch, big plays by both sides. And when you let a team like Minnesota stick around in the game and you give them life and confidence early, then you're in a dogfight.
Yeah.
And, you come down the stretch and ultimately a 35-foot buzzer beater at the end of it beats you. But it's a lot of things that Michigan can learn from this. I think it's one of those things where you're not going to win every Big Ten game. This is a tough one to win, especially – this is a tough one to lose, especially when you do it on the road with a team that has no losses. But this is obviously a point where Dusty May can go into that film room, he can go into that locker room, and he can definitely get the attention of everybody. Because I know everybody's goals are set right now on putting themselves in position to win a Big Ten championship. This game will be one of those catalysts. So how can they bounce back this Sunday against Northwestern? We'll see. But what you want to do? You want to dive into the film now, man, or what? We get straight into it?
Yeah, no, I think you made a good point about, in preparation for Northwestern, Sunday, right? You can't let this game beat you twice,
Most
right?
definitely.
You gotta bounce back today in practice, have a good day in practice tomorrow. 2 good days of preparation, man, and come out and play as hard as you can, right? I think this, I don't want to say it's the most intense game they played because the Arkansas game was a pretty competitive game. The Wake Forest game, I could think of some games that were pretty competitive. But as far as Big Ten intensity and just the way Minnesota feverishness they played with, as far as they like those guys play with their hair on fire, and Michigan matched that for the most part, right? But like you said, a couple of their things that have been kind of creeping up as the seasons progress, right? They reared their ugly heads again. So I think as we start the film now, we'll go through some of the turnovers that they have. I think we have all the turnovers, don't we? We'll go through the turnovers. We'll let it run for some of them, but some of them we'll stop and kind of break it down a little bit. But let's get started.
Let's get started. Let's jump into it, man. And credit to Minnesota for, like you said, playing their butts off, playing desperately, playing physical, and getting that dub. But these are some things that we're going to break down if you see this film, man, where we can say, hey, for Michigan, if you can clean up these turnovers, especially the ones early in the game that kind of set the tone a little bit for how this game kind of went, they were able to clean that up, down the stretch of the game and for big periods of the game. But when you set the tone with the type of turnovers you're going to see here, sometimes that gives the other team a lot of life and confidence to say, hey, we can compete with these guys and stay in this game. So let's run the film on this.
And one thing I think, no matter what your position is, right, if you're entrusted with handling the ball for your team, whether you're the point guard or you're a point forward or point center like Danny Wolf, you have to take care of you part of your responsibility is valuing the basketball, right? And I think, like you said, when you start the game off with some of these turnovers that Michigan had individually and as a team, like you said, it sets a tone that you have to fight to overcome throughout the course of the game. And a lot of teams are not, they don't overcome it. So we'll just roll them early. You know what I mean? These are some plays that, that was the second possession of the game.
Second possession of a play that's just not there. And this is just another, like you say, just riding. These guys are trying to play fast. They're trying to play up tempo. And it's just a play that just, it's just a careless play that can't happen early in the game. Just an unforced error that puts you behind the 8 ball when you're talking about the momentum.
Like you kind of travel almost whatever right there. You pitch it up, you almost travel, and then Trey sticking out one hand to catch the ball. Those are all things you can't do on the road. Pass and catch with 2 hands, right? We talk about Wolf right here on that play that we just saw. We say passing out of motion, right? Passing out of motion, jumping the pass. That's 4, 6, 8 hands right there between the 4 players in that space, right? You don't want to pass out of motion. Right here, unfortunately, trying to make a play, just stumble, but it's not that's just necessarily a bad play, right? It's that it's on top of the other, the other 2, 3 plays that we've seen already, right?
It's the compound mistake. So you throw it away twice, and then you drive, you fall down, and those are 3 live ball turnovers that you have right there.
Yeah,
that leads to that other team breaking down the court and getting good things. And that's what it comes to when you have these turnovers and they're consecutive and they're 50% of the plays in that particular segment. So you got 6 possessions and 3 of them are turnovers and they're live ball turnovers. That puts your defense in a tough position and that breaks your momentum offensively. And Danny Wolf is a really skilled and good player. He's got to clean those small things up. What makes him good is his ability to make these tough throws and tough plays. And then what sets him behind the 8 ball sometimes is his ability to make those tough throws and tough plays because he tries to do it, thread the needle, and those things don't work.
Yeah. So we'll keep it rolling. Here another one, just right idea, passing out of motion, but if you're going to do it, you got to complete it, right? You got to put a little bit more air under it. Right idea, trying to make the right play, but you got to complete the play, right? Leads to a live ball turnover, leads to a dunk. And then, so we talk about throughout the year, right? Michigan has the need for Michigan to have a secondary or a third playmaker behind Wolf and Donaldson, right?
Yeah.
And so I think they kind of had ideas of Jones being a defender and a playmaker and a shot maker in certain situations. So when you get your opportunities, to be in those situations, you got to make the most of it, and you can't have turnovers like this.
Yeah, when you look at that one, it's like
it was even open.
Yeah, I don't know who was open. It looked like he was almost trying to throw it to the ref, get it up the floor to the mark, but the play wasn't there. So that's not the time to try to push it and play fast. This is the time to value that possession.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get the ball up the floor. Let's push it. Let's value the possession. Let's get into our action because we're really good when we get into our action and that ball is moving. So those are the ones, like you say, you can't make those type of mistakes because that's just an unforced gift to Minnesota.
Let the play run. We got another Trey almost turns it over here. All right, Roddy. Go ahead, Chris. I'll let you take the lead on this because we spoke about this during the pregame. So go ahead and break this one down.
Yeah, it's a play where you come down, you try to make a good play towards the rim to split that defense, and the defense does a good job of getting a hand on the ball. Now, if you're Roddy Gale, you're trying to make a quick decision off that catch, right? And typically, when you get the ball, you're looking to go opposite of where you received the ball from, right?
Right.
So, you got guys falling down, you got Trey falling out of bounds, you get it from the corner. Typically, you're looking to go opposite of where the ball came, and it's a perfect opportunity right now. If you see Vlad is right there, I mean, it's a screen and roll opportunity. It's an opportunity to play on the weak side of the floor. Now you got the defense rotating, but he chooses to go back right and kind of drives himself in trouble if you run this clip. So this is one of those things. He's driving right back into where the ball came, into some congestion and trouble, and you turn the ball over when you don't necessarily need to turn the ball over right here. You dodged the bullet there. You caught it. Now let's play on that weak side.
You're right. Just go ahead and either drive middle or just reverse the ball through Vlad. I think if you reverse it through Vlad, swing, Cheddar, who's actually having a pretty good game, he gets a wide open look right.
Yeah, he was balling, man. He was back home. I heard he had 1,000 people in the stands, and I was watching the game. I saw, his mom and his dad and his brothers and a lot of his relatives that I know sitting there in that front row. So, he came out cooking and balling, and he's been having a heck of a year off the bench.
Yes, sir.
As a sixth man, and we'll definitely, get to talk more about him.
My man, him and Lamar. We got to get him, show them some love, man. They've been
sir.
All right. Another one.
Yeah, another unforced. Roddy Gale had a tough night, tonight, and he's been struggling a little bit lately as far as the level that we've seen him play at, right? So this is just it's a simple play that just can't happen, right? You're trying to reject the ball screen, and the guy just ripped the ball out your hand. So these are kind of those unforced errors that you just can't gift a team who's struggling to give them life and confidence. And you look at the time on the clock, what is it, 19:06? This is probably the second possession in the second half. So we got to be really tight with the ball. We got to execute, and we got to come out here and set the tone for how this second half is going to go.
And as far as just, guard play, right? As a guard, you can't really reject this right now. You have a kid sitting right here. His man is going to cut through the weak side, so his job is to stop in the middle of the lane, right? Yep. Stop in the middle of the lane, or if they're going to overload and help, or he's going to switch to Danny off, then he's going to play here. So just use the ball screen. Just use it. Go middle. Use it.
Go middle and let the action work for you instead of working for the action.
Yes, sir. Right? So I think he's kind of pressing a little bit. I think, I don't know if these guys read or the meet or whatever, but read comments and stuff, but I think he's kind of pressing a little bit, or he can kind of feel himself not playing as well as he was. I think he probably needs to settle down a little bit and just play his game, right? No need to reject this. Do what you be the kind of junkyard dog that we talked about him being, right? As far as him being tough off the dribble. Hey, get down here with your left hand, get your shoulders in the people, finish around the rim. You know what I mean? So, or get in the paint, kick it to Trey, who's been shooting the ball well from outside.
Yeah. So just a force play, like you say, trying to force the action and it's a turnover. Yeah, and that's another one right there. When you look at that, you always want to be looking at the big fella. But if you're Danny Wolf, what are you reading right now? Stop it. So you're reading that help side defender who's guarding Amari Burnett over there in the corner, right? So he's reading your eyes the whole time. You're telegraphing it, and it's a lobbing pass in the air. 9 times out of 10, that pass is going to get stolen or knocked down, and you're putting your big fella in a bad position. Say, hey, if it's not there, okay, let's move to the next action, right? We don't have to force this pass in there. So sometimes, if you can see, as Danny Wolf, he sees the play, and he's so good at threading the needle and making these plays and passes.
Yeah.
But on this one, the decision was to, hey, let's it's not there. That guy's reading it. Or if you see this guy really over helping, then you're making that skip pass in the Mari in the corner, and you really got something good. So it's one of those things where you just got to make the right read in this situation and continue to set the tone for this game.
Right read, and kind of, once again, like, I don't know if they're supposed to be running a handoff here, but space the floor. If not, that way Danny can square up, because it would be hard for him. And, you know, he's really great at making those overhead hook passes, right?
Yeah.
But even him, a hook pass from here to Namari would be tough, right? So I think if he, you know, I don't know if he's supposed to be handing it off, but stay here. That way he can square up. And I think he'll, because of this action right here, I think it kind of forces him to, it limits his
option
quick
able to make a decision, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like his body positioning right now, he'd have to be, you know, Herculean strong to kind of make that pass on the money, on time, and on target over there. So, but he's also passing out of motion as well. So we gotta.
Yes, I mean, something he's good at. So it's one of
right.
You don't want to take that skill set away from him, but in those certain situations, it's one of those things where you grow and your reads become better, and you're able to make less mistakes. But because he's so good at passing out of motion at awkward angles and off the dribble and seeing the floor, and it's a few plays down the stretch in this game we got clips of where you're going to see that. So you don't want to take that strength away from him, but in those situations, you got to grow and get better in those.
Yeah, no, it can't be as much, right? If you're passing out of motion all the time, that's when the turnovers come, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can still have those plays where your instincts come in and you make that play, right? But sometimes you just got to keep it basic and complete the play, complete the pass. All right, another opportunity for Jones to, you know, kind of do what he's very capable of doing, right? You just got to complete the pass, right? Vlad's open. Complete the pass.
Got to complete that, you know. In Minnesota, give credit to Minnesota. They're up, they're active, they got active hands, and they got a deflection. But if you're Michigan, you got to be able to make this play either, you know, down low with the pocket pass or over the top to get it to Vlad so he can, you know, finish like he has been finishing throughout the Big Ten season. So, you know, credit to Minnesota, but this is another one of those kind of live ball turnovers that breaks momentum. And you look at it, it's a 2-point game right now, halfway through the second half. And now you give Minnesota another opportunity to run down the floor in a numbers situation and put your defense in a bad spot.
Yeah, now that's we talked about it during the UCLA game, right? In a similar situation where the screen was more lower between the 4-5 situation, and the guys came off and there really wasn't active hands against the passer, right? This is like the exact opposite. You know what I mean? Still not great defense by Minnesota, but big fella makes up for it by having active hands.
That was a play after a timeout in the second half where you got to get a good possession, right? And Roddy Gay, you don't want to take away his aggressiveness to the basket because he's, like you said, a junkyard dog, can really get downhill, can really do a lot of great things at drawing fouls and finishing, and got strength and athleticism. But with this drive, you just got to be able to keep your feet. And if it's not there, retreat, dribble, get it out of there, and let's move on to the next action. You got to get a good possession after a timeout. When the game is this tight, you're down one possession under 4 minutes.
And he really kind of has a two-way go on this guy. That's what it looks like, right? We know this guy here is once the ball, he's supposed to drop in to help. So he makes the right read by ripping and going baseline. I just don't think he does it quick enough. And then compounded by the fact that Vlad, normally when a guy rips and goes baseline as a big, he's supposed to kind of relocate to either to the front of the rim or to this little spot here near the Big Ten logo, shoot the little short jumper or whatever. But you're supposed to relocate to the front of the rim. And Vlad kind of miscommunication. I don't know if it's the play or whatever, but he's coming out to set a ball screen on the bottom side. So kind of get caught up a little bit. Ends up in a kind of a tough play. So
yeah.
All right, now we're going to kind of get into the some of the plays that Minnesota made as far as make tough situations in the game where they were able to go to 4-5 action and really give Michigan some problems. And I kind of gave Michigan a little taste of their own medicine as far as we've done to other people throughout the season. So Minnesota did a really good job of in their game plan preparing. Say, hey, let's add some of that to our game. Now, I haven't watched a lot of Minnesota, but it seemed like it was specifically part of their game plan last night. So
yeah, and you got like we said earlier, one of those pathways for Minnesota to win was Dawson Garcia imposing his will because he was a skilled player, and I coached against him and been around him in this league when he was at North Carolina as well as Minnesota, and he's been growing and playing well. So he has some of those similar skill sets of a Danny Wolf and can do a lot of great things, like I said, inside and out. So they did a really good job of putting Michigan in some tough situations. He did a good job of driving and collapsing our defense and kicking the ball out for threes and putting us in some positions that we put other teams in, like you said, with our 4-5 pick and roll.
Yeah. So here's a kind of at the start of their comeback, right? They went down 9. We came out and scored a quick bucket to start the half. Went up 11, obviously. And they went to their 4-5 side pick and roll, and he just rejects the screen, gets baseline, and finds a teammate. Not bad defense, right? Not bad defense, but the fact that his like Danny Wolf does other teams, right? That versatility of being able to just maybe get a shoulder by a guy and create just half help, right? Create half help, which makes you late on a quick whip. And they get a
yep. And definitely on the ball screen, that number one rule is no rejects, right?
No rejects. Exactly.
No rejects. So like you've been talking about before, the situation that Michigan put other teams in with their 4-5. Now we have our big 7-foot guy having to negotiate a primary ball handler on the ball screen. So the first rule is no rejects. We want to send that guy to the screen because if you can see where Vlad is, that's where your help is. So you want to send the guy to your help so we can execute whatever we're doing, whether it's just drop coverage, whether we're switching that. We want to force that guy to go towards the screen, and now that he rejects it.
No pick and rolls before.
Hey, man, versatility, baby. I was his first stretch big ever. If you go back to Google, you'll see that.
You're absolutely right, though, bro. No, as guard, when guards are normally in that situation, that's exactly what we tell them. Make him use the screen.
Make him use it. So we can, whatever coverage we doing, we switching, we drop coverage, and that ripping baseline, like you said, force that half help, and he makes a good play to an open shooter on the perimeter, and they knock it down. And here's another possession, right? 4-5. You got Parker Fox and him coming off, and now Vlad is in no man's land. He's too deep to really affect the ball handler, and then he's too shaded towards his man to stop the ball handler or impede his progress going downhill. And Dawson Garcia, okay, I got an open lane. I'm skilled. I'm 6'11". Let me take this down here and let me make a play. And it's some of those same positions that Michigan puts other teams in that they were in tonight, and we didn't execute those great in a few instances. And Minnesota got some really good things out of that action.
Yeah, I think these guards have to be a little bit more active as well, right? I know these guys are really spaced, but Lamar can probably step up and put his body on the line, rotate, and scramble out of it, right? There's different ways we could have played it, but it starts with, like you said, that versatility of being able to, putting certain guys in positions they're not really in all the time.
Yeah, and Vlad in this game got caught a little too deep, I would say, consistently in his drop coverage. But like I said, this is a great screen. Right now, you see he's a little too deep in our position to be in the triangle to stop the progress of that ball handler. And, once a guy like that gets momentum going downhill, then he's got all of his options. Like it puts Namari in the bad spots. It put everybody. Now he has all his options to finish or spray out to shooters on the other side.
Yep, and Namari couldn't really do anything because he knifed back to the other side. So it was a nice play by Garcia.
Heck of a finish.
Yeah. Once again,
versatility. The situations that Danny Wolf puts other teams in, and this is him just, a little delayed tween, splitting the defense is a tough finish. in a tough play. And that's great versatility by Dawson Garcia. But this is, like I said, some of those same situations that we put people in that are tough plays to guard.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. Like it's when Danny does it, when that Garcia, it was a great matchup between those two as far as two versatile big guys that can do many things and can affect the game in multiple ways. And shoot, the second half they both got busy. It was fun to watch.
Oh yeah, they battled. It was a fun game.
Yeah, they were competing for sure. I saw a little chirping between them, right? And just another play, they put now. We saw Dawson as the ball handler in the pick and roll. Now he reverts back to a more traditional role as the screener in a 1-4, 1-5 pick and roll, and he's still same versatility, shot fake, one dribble to the rim. Nice floater.
Nice floater to rotating big. It's a tough play, tough finish.
Mm-hmm. And so I think here I'll let you go through some of the tough bunnies Vlad missed. He's been one of the best finishers in the paint in the country over the last few weeks. And last night it was kind of reverted to some of the things we saw to start the year, right? So
so he went 5 from 15 from the field. Is not a typical night from him, especially during Big Ten play, and he's been finishing the ball very, very well. And on occasion you have some of these nights, and this is where Michigan has been very dominant because they've been extremely a high percentage team from the 2-point area and very, very efficient from the 3-point area. So when you have a couple plays like this where you get good action, you get the roller going to the rim, and you kind of miss those bunnies, those zap some of the energy out of your runs, and they help build momentum from the other team when you get those missed layups. Typically, a missed layup on one end leads to something good on the other end. That's kind of the basketball karma you have. So we're just going to go through a couple of these, and we're going to breeze through them, man. And because we know Vlad is going to do a better job at finishing. But these are some of those plays when you don't make them, they lead to some momentum for the opponent.
And to his credit, I think after the one he missed kind of to start overtime, Wolf fed him a couple times after that on the 4-5 screen and roll, and he finished really. One was he dunked over a guy, another one he finished nicely off the glass with some of those crafty finishes we've been seeing from him over the last couple of weeks. So it's just like you said, some things just set the tone, right? And Michigan was able to come in and have a nice size halftime lead. But it just sets the tone between the turnovers and the missed bunny. It's not, those are not the starts you want to get off to in conference play.
Yeah. You get 4 or 5 turnovers, 4 or 5 missed layups. That's not the start you want.
All right. This is 151-47. Close game. Minnesota's kind of fought their way back into the game, got a chance to. Great play design, great pass, great screen, great pass, everything. Just, these are ones that we know he'll make 10 times out of 10 moving forward. Like that's. And
as a big fella, I like it that he's trying to put it on his head and dunk on him. And and this is another great read right here too. It's just as you can look at when you pause it right there, that the ball did everything but go in. This is a great read.
Oh, that's
the first play. You try to put it on his head. I like that as a big fella. Put it on his head. You throw it to him. He comes off. Great read.
Yeah, I went right here. The read on the handoff.
On the handoff. So you fake the handoff. Get downhill. Great read. You got to step.
Hey, that ball's in the hole right now.
The ball is in the hole right now, and it rolls out. Right, so. Those are those plays. Up 3 with 5 minutes to go. You go up 5. Now 2-possession game. You get a stop on the other end, get a score, and now you start building the momentum. But when you have these missed layups like this on good plays, like I said, you give the opponent an opportunity to break that momentum and create momentum for themselves.
Yeah. I think kind of the missed dunk and this one, that's just bad luck a little bit, right? Like, he made the right read. He made the right play. Like, look, this ball is halfway down.
Yeah, it's halfway down.
And it comes out. Yeah, that's just tough luck, man. That's good play design, just tough luck. But you got still. I would like to see him display the attitude on the missed dunk. Go ahead and go again. Go bang on him again. Especially that's a guard rotating over a small and big. Go get you another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think here we're going to get into some of Danny started out, he had a tough first half. I think he started first half, he finished with 3 points, a couple assists, those turnovers that we saw earlier, right? But I think the second half, he bounced back and showed why some people are projecting him as a first-round pick or a lottery pick. He had some really special plays, and he had some timely plays as well that kind of, hey, man, this guy can go, right?
Yeah. I mean, down the stretch, like you said, clutch buckets, tough buckets off the dribble, off the drive. And this is one of those plays right here we were talking about earlier, like passing on the move. Like, this is a heck of a pass off the move, a great drive.
And it's instinctual.
Instinctual spin to a cutting guy. I mean, that's a heck of a play to get your eyes around after that spin and see Namari cutting and to be able to deliver it as a tough play. So that's one of those things. You don't want to take that ability away from him.
No, sir.
But if we can clean up some of those turnovers and get those down to 3 a game, 2.5 a game, then you're really being very, very efficient in maximizing his ability to see the floor and make those plays.
Yes, sir.
But he's a heck of a passer.
7 assists and 6 turnovers, right?
Yeah. That's not a good ratio.
Yeah, it's not a good ratio.
I'm not a mathematician, but that's not a good ratio.
I can't even spell mathematician. All right, we're gonna move on to the next clip. And this is not play design, it's kind of freelancing, right?
Yeah, this is in a flow, right? This is in the flow. You're playing in the flow. He's making a read going left, and Vlad does a great job of either setting meat screens where you're making contact with that defender's body, or understanding when he can get his feet out of there and slip really quickly. So that's a good meat screen. Got that contact. You see Garcia's head snap back a little bit. That's when you set the meat screen, meat to meat, and you get that advantage. And he does a good job of just rolling hard, finishing. And this is a great over-the-top play that's hard to guard from a 7-footer because he can drop it right in over the top. Vlad keeps that ball high.
Basketball right there. Look at this forearm shiver. Where he buckled. Boom.
Great screen.
I'm wide open after this. I don't give a damn who got the choose ball. I don't care who has the ball. That's an old school. That's how I remember Graham Brown crushing a lot of guys like this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's the old adage, right? The best screeners, you'll get yourself open the most, man. Like, set a good screen and you're gonna be open. And that's what Vlad has been very, very good at doing that. And that's just a textbook play, keeping the ball high and putting it on his head again.
All right, back to the 4-5. Well, 4-5 action. It's not really, I don't say a pick and roll, right? But it's a handoff.
Yeah, you got a little back screen to a handoff, and then he's driving it and just making an athletic play.
Attacking the closeout. They try to switch it, right? Short closeout for him, close out flat foot. Danny's able to get downhill, attack him downhill, nice finish. And so when he started, that's how he started the half, right? Like, I'm a big proponent of guys who are playmakers and scorers. A lot of times when you start attacking the basket first, right? You tend to have more success because it puts you in an aggressive mind state instead of my first 2 or 3 shots are long threes, right? He was able to get downhill to kind of the first play of the half, and it really set the tone for how he played the second half, which was he was by far the best player in the gym the second half of the game. And that's with Garcia playing the way he played. And
it was a battle, and I love to see it as 2 versatile big guys going out there and showing up.
All right, I got to talk about this, right? I talk about athletic profiles and, some of the things that guys need to do to be considered a lottery pick. This, to me, in my opinion, is a lottery pick type play, right? Because when Trey catches this ball, he makes a soft bounce pass, a casual bounce pass in transition that most big men, they're going to kick into the third row. Most 7-footers, they're going to kick into the third row, right? Or they're going to have to, kind of slow down and catch the ball with 2 hands and maybe do something different. There's other big men who can catch and still make a play, right? But Danny catches his ball with his left hand, on the fly, right? And finishes with his left hand through contact. Now, I wish you would have dunked on him, but that's me nitpicking. But for him to catch this, that's a lottery. That's lottery pick type athleticism. He don't even slow down.
No, definitely great finish. Left hand, same foot. First step finish off the glass is tough with some contact and transition. I mean, that's a play that a lot of people can't make, guards or whoever. And that's that shows his skill level for sure.
For sure. All right, again, this was another play I thought that's a pro shot. That's an NBA shot right there, right here. You seen that from plenty of players. Or Dirk, I don't want to throw the superlatives.
You throwing out the superlative, Dirk, Jokic. Come on, throw him out, man. Come on.
Throw him out,
man.
That.
That's what we here to do.
That is incredible. That's a big time shot right there. He gets cut off, step back, fade over you.
The Dirk fade. Come on.
It's certain things you recognize from a guy where you know he got it going, right? And for me, like I'll be looking at look at the wrist flick.
You said the wrist flick. Look at that wrist. Look at it.
Like I got it going. I got it going right now, big fella.
No, he had it going. I mean, that's a tough play. Like you said, you up 3, 2 possession games put you up, 5 points. And this was the night we down 3 on this possession, and this is just like this is having the cojones
when he caught it. It's the right play. Trey stretches the defense. He makes the right read as well, and he already, like I say, he has it going.
And the cojones to shoot it.
Look at I'm telling you, bro, the wrist flick can tell you when the guy got it going.
So look at the flick of that wrist. Look at that wrist.
And you know what he said in his mind? Too late.
Too late.
He too late, big fella. All right, catch the ball, top of the key, 4-5 screen and roll. Little LeBron James pull back.
That's a tough play for a guard, for anybody. They mess up that 4-5 screen with Garcia, and he pulls that thing back and knocks it down, man. I mean, that's tough. Down 1. A very, very tough play to have that type of balance come off.
Watch the wrist flick. Watch the wrist flick.
And look at the flick of that wrist. Hey.
This is what you're supposed to do to him. Big time shot. Crucial moment in the game, 30 seconds left. Like this is really like, this could have been the game winner right here. We come out and get a stop. If we would have got a stop after this, we having a totally different conversation right now, right? But that's how the game goes sometimes, right? This overtime, down 2, gets the rebound. What outlet? 4-5 pick and roll, get right top bread and butter, get downhill. Spin move. Look how the spin move buckled him, Chris.
No, it's a great play. I love when he can get downhill and keep his feet and being able to spin, to pivot, to land on 2 feet and make plays. Great play. Great move. Way to keep your feet on balance.
Boom. Hit him right here. Spin move now, buckled him. Finish at the rim.
With the offhand with touch. You got to love that.
All right.
And this is this is sometimes just the karma of the game, right? You give a team like Minnesota, who's 0-6, all the things we talked about before, Ben Johnson being 0 and whatever he is against, top 25 ranked opponents. You give him life, and you give a guy who's been playing extremely well throughout the whole game, and Dawson Garcia, a chance to, win it. And this is what happened. But this is a great play. Who is that? Is that Mike Mitchell on that? I can't see the number right now.
Yeah.
A great play by him of absorbing some contact, driving it to the middle and pitching it back. It reminds me of the national championship game with Villanova when they hit the buzzer to win that, man, because some of that, that similar type action at the end where you drive it and get all of the defense flooding to the ball and you pitch it back and you give your guy a chance to throw up a prayer. His prayer was answered on this one.
Hey, the thing is, I was watching this and it reminded me, this is a play that LaVelle Blanchard and I used to make all the time. Like I said, albeit a lot closer, more in the scoring area, given the game situation, right?
Yeah.
But it's a great job by the point guard of having awareness of like, normally it's Garcia's man, right? But because Garcia's man is both of them are back here, it's going to be the closest defender to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he runs and gets a piece of him after the toss. See, right here, just get a piece of him. See how he kind of forearmed him a little bit? That prevents the contest. I used to do that all the time with LaVelle Blanchard, but obviously more in the scoring area. and he would hit a lot of those, threes right there at the top of the key. They just do it from a little further out, given the game situation. Pitch back, a little brush. That's a good point guard play.
Yep, still got. I mean, Reuben Jones did a good job of getting around and getting a late contest, but that's kind of the karma of the game. Sometimes you let a guy have a game like that, and he's able to feel it coming down the stretch where that ball is feeling good coming off his hands.
Yeah.
And there's
on the road. Not a bad performance, right? Had some things that, the sloppy turnovers were, we got to clean that up. Hopefully that gets better going forward, right? They were better in the sense that we didn't have 20, right? But the 12 or 13 that they did have were kind of like silly turnovers that, led to buckets or, in crucial game situations that you can't really have. So I think if they clean, once again, it's kind of the same. They clean those things up, man. Michigan's going to be hard to beat. Like, this is on the road in the Big Ten against a team basically giving you everything they got. You took their best shot, which you as Michigan, you should expect to get every night, right? You're always going to get the other team's best punch. But I think we came out and took it and gave ourselves a chance to win the game, even through the turnovers. Just like you said, sometimes that basketball karma kicks in like, nah, if you'd have done a couple things different, you wouldn't be in this situation. So good performance by some guys, especially Wolf in the second half, Cheddar off the bench. Vlad played a good game for the most part, other than those missed bunnies. But man, tough way to lose.
Yeah, tough way to lose. And that's a game that if you're trying to win a Big Ten title, you want to X that one off. You want to get that win. That's a road win that's very winnable that you want to get because they don't get any easier in the Big Ten. So these guys will grow and learn from that. I think they are growing incrementally in those areas where they need to get better at. And this is just another bit of information for those coaches to help get some more buy-in, something to change for those guys to get better. So I'm still excited to see what these guys are going to do down the stretch, man. And it's going to be fun to watch and fun to see. Got a big game coming up on Sunday, and Northwestern brings a different challenge, man. They play very well. They execute offensively, and they got some guys on their team that can really, I think, going to present some different matchup challenges for them. The way they can score and Martinelli, he does a great job of playing at all three levels, man, and posting and driving and got good size for a wing player. So it's going to be a fun game to see on Sunday how the Wolverines bounce back.
We might need to do a preview show.
Oh, we will. Don't even worry about it. That's coming for sure. All right, man. Bold statement. I always like to get your reactions. This is something we ain't even talk about, but just get your reactions from it early on. This is the bold statement of the day. Michigan will win the Big Ten.
The Michigan man in me wants to say yes, but I need to see them clean the turnovers a little bit more, right? I think we've seen what we need to see from guys in a lot of different areas. I think we need to clean up the turnovers, right? Clean up that late game execution against the better teams. I think so. I'm a bold statement. I'm gonna say yes.
Yes, Michigan will win the Big Ten.
Michigan State to win anything. So yes, we will win the Big Ten.
What's your loss total that'll get that done? For me, I say 5.
That was my number. I was gonna say 5 or 6, just because I don't think the Big Ten is super tough. So I think the top 2 or 3 teams are gonna, they're not gonna lose more than 4, 5, 6 games in the league this year, right? Like this for Michigan as a top team in the league, took a buzzer beater and their best player's best game probably so far of the season for them to pull that out. So I wouldn't overreact to this loss, right? I think you go in there, you talk about the things we need to clean up and get better at. But I think if they give that effort and they match teams' intensity like they did that last night, I think moving forward, I don't think that's such a bold statement right now at this point in the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bold one, but I want you to stand on some business right now. Like, what you think? Stand on that business. You say yes, they will win it. Obviously, we're somewhat biased with that, but we try to give a little bit definitely some constructive thoughts and opinions on these things. But I think they got a shot. I mean, Sunday will be a big. How do you bounce back at home? How do you bounce back from a devastating, kind of buzzer beater loss of a game that everybody thought you should win? How do you bounce back? How do you set that tone moving forward? Because you always have those inflection points in the season. There's always multiple. This loss against Minnesota on the road, is one of those. How do we bounce back? And that shows the championship medal of a team. And that'll be another indicator of, okay, bold statement, they will win the Big Ten on how they bounce back from this loss moving forward, man. But, hey, man, it's another good show, man. I love the content. I love being able to, break down some film and kind of give our thoughts and opinions on it. Hopefully you guys out there that are watching this is getting some good insights on two guys who've played the game for a long time, coached the game on all different levels. And we're excited to continue to bring you this content here on the Big Game Podcast, man. Thank you. Thank you again, Daniel Horton, for your time. I am Chris Hunter. We will see you guys next time.
See you next time.
Yes, sir. Gotta love it.